Hey, this is Stuart and welcome to this video where I'm extremely excited to be bringing you one of our members who I'll introduce in a moment. But before I do that, I just want to give some context to this video. So one of the things you often hear us talking about is our members that have been with us for some time, quite often several years. And members who have even gone on to create businesses and brands that are really sort of focused around their interests, their purpose and their passion. And I know often when we share these types of videos, it offers a lot of excitement and people get very enthusiastic about it, but sometimes it feels as well that it's a little way off. And we've got a lot of members who are starting out looking to really reskill and start a new venture, start a new business from scratch. And I think this is an absolute ideal member to introduce because Tim's actually been with us now for about a year and a half, and you'll hear more about that in a moment, but has really been able to take our education and really create a very, very different outcome for him. One of the things I always say that our major passion is helping people go from where they are in life into a place of more freedom and choice and flexibility. And Tim is just an absolute prime example of that. So I've actually got some notes down here, and I'm going to have Tim share this with you. But in a nutshell, Tim was a guy who was a hard-working lawyer. You were 20 years, was it?
20 years in the legal profession.
20
corporate
years,
law.
Corporate law,
Yeah.
So 20 years in corporate law, but was in a place in life where he was finding that he was missing out on some really important family moments. You know, the career was taking a lot of his time. He was also in a situation where he was less fulfilled than what he once was when he started out with the career, which I think again is something a lot of us can relate to. I know that was very similar for me in real estate. After, for me, 8 years of being in real estate, I was kind of ready for the next phase. But that's enough about me. I just wanted to give that pre-framing. So Tim, let's go back to that. You know, before you found us, you had been practicing in law, in corporate law, for over 20 years.
Just about 20 years.
About 20 years.
At that time.
Yeah.
20 years on the dot.
Oh, really?
At the time I found SFM.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, tell us about that. Just tell us about sort of your journey into law and how that looked.
Well, I come from a family of lawyers.
Right.
And the law seemed like the only profession to be in.
Yeah.
Anything else would probably have been frowned upon.
Yeah.
So coming into the law was, I suppose it was a choice of no choice, and
peer pressure, family pressure.
Yeah, family pressure. It seemed like it was great at first, right? It seemed like a glamorous career. It paid well, and so I never thought of leaving. And when I found the SFM, I found that there were other possibilities. There were people who were creating lives that they were passionate about, and having done this now and creating a life where I no longer need to trade time for money. I no longer need to go into the office in order to get the bills paid. It's entirely realizing it's entirely possible and then doing it.
Yeah.
Right. Within a space of 6 months.
Yeah.
On the 6th month after signing up with you, I replaced my income.
Wow. Yeah. I'm going to just say results not typical, but that is an absolute prime example of the potential in today's digital world. I just want to go back a little bit to the practicing law. Obviously, 2 decades. What was it that led you to actually take it seriously, this idea of reskilling and going from something that you had put so much time, energy, effort into building? That's a really frightening thing to do. Like, let's not downplay it. Like, a lot of people these days are hearing of, digital entrepreneurship and online businesses and traveling the world and laptop lifestyle, and it is very appealing. There's no doubt about it. But at the same time, one of the things that I've found is that a lot of people like yourself who are in, professions that you've had to work really, really hard to get to where you are, both with your salary and your income, I feel like there must have been a reasonable amount of pain for you to actually think, I'm going to do what it takes to create that change. So I want to know, like, just on a real deep level, like, how were you feeling around the career, the job, missing the family moments? Was it something that was on your mind a lot, or was there just an awareness around I'm not fulfilled? Just give me some insight on that.
No, certainly there was missing the family moments was a huge one, right? Life became just about work. It got to a point, I suppose, where being at work was more comfortable than being at home, because I just got more used to being at work.
Yes.
And then there's the worries, right, about how much of a runway my career had left. Right, I had reached 20 years into my career. I had potentially 20 years of working life left.
Yeah.
And I had potentially hit the peak. Right. At the same time, prices around me are going up. Inflation never stops, as we all know. And the reality is, I needed to be in a space where I could continue to grow, grow my income, grow myself as a person, and run away, well, not run away, but to get away from the idea of being dependent on someone to pay me at the end of every month. And all of these realizations on their own may not have been enough to endure the pain of reskilling, but put them together, the confluence of stress points made doing this all worthwhile.
Yeah. And with regards to the fulfillment side of the job, because one of the things that I think isn't spoken enough about in society is this whole idea of being able to create careers, businesses, whatever you decide to do, whatever path you decide to go down, that you're passionate about. For me, there is, and I always say this, there's a lot of things that I probably take for granted in life. Whether it be my nice home or the nice cars, the vacations, the traveling, business class. These are things that you get used to. I mean, I've been an entrepreneur for a decade. It's been paying me well. It's upgraded my life from that perspective. But the thing that I never take for granted, ever, is waking up just feeling excited and fulfilled and knowing what I'm doing matters. So, let me just sort of drill in on that a little bit. Like, with the career, had you lost all fulfillment, or was it days were quite good, or was it a job where you felt like I'm pushing a lot of paper here and I'm really getting nothing out of it? Like, was it a balance, or?
No, it was fulfilling from the perspective that I was doing nice deals, right? I was doing big deals. There was the glamour of doing all of that, but a lot of that also involves moving paper around. A lot of that involved creating or working towards someone else's goals other than mine, right? And building someone else's dreams, but not mine. And so you get the satisfaction from doing the transactions, right? Because they're nice big transactions, but you realize that time isn't on your side. Time's acting against you, because the longer you spend fulfilling someone else's dreams, the less time you've got for your own.
But let me actually ask you this though. So the big deals, I remember when I was in real estate, I could sell a multi-million pound home, and that could be worth multiple thousands that month in that particular paycheck. And I remember the excitement on the deal being closed, and then I remember even more the excitement when the contracts exchanged and the deal was concluded. I've got to say though that as nice as that was, when I think back now, it doesn't resonate with me as being fulfilled, because I always found, and I'm interested if it was the same for you or not, I always found that once I reached a certain financial income level, maybe for me it was 60,000 a year, so it wasn't a huge amount. Every year after that, as I progressed, and I actually progressed into a six-figure income, one of the realizations I had is that the money became less and less exciting, as you put it, or less and less fulfilling. And that was actually a big turning point for me, because it was when I actually said to myself, well, I'm probably going to progress my financial career if I continue on this path. I'm going to get better at what I'm doing. I'm going to have more responsibilities. I'm going to become a director or a shareholder within the organization. But what I guess, one way of putting it, what was frightening to me is when I started to have that realization that really more money isn't giving me more fulfillment. It's just a nice thing to have. Did you have that element of that at all?
Well, I guess slightly different for me. I was very fortunate, very blessed in my career. I got to a head of legal role quite early on in my career, and I had spent potentially about half of the 20 years as a head lawyer of fairly big organizations.
Yeah.
So the money was certainly good.
Yeah.
And getting used to that level of income, as you had said earlier, that was something that had happened. What was frightening for me was reaching a point where I realized how much higher could I go in an organization than a head lawyer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
and I had run out of bigger organizations to go to.
Yeah. So it's almost like a fear of what is next. Like where do I go from here?
Exactly.
That's very interesting. Yeah, because I personally never got to the peak, I guess, of that. And it's interesting you say that, because I can completely understand that. Now having your own business and building my business, there is a real sentiment of peace, I guess, from knowing that there is no limit. There is no where do you stop? Like There's no end. The world is your oyster, as they say.
Yep, absolutely.
No, interesting. I'm glad we covered that. Okay, so now you're at a point, you're missing out on family moments, you're working really long hours, you're at the peak of your career, you're earning amazing money, you're starting to realize that these things are causing you to consider alternative options. I don't actually know the answer to this. When you came across us, were you specifically looking for something like this, or did you accidentally find us?
I accidentally found you.
Wow.
I was actually looking to sell some guitars,
right?
Because it was Valentine's Day, and my wife had asked me to sell some of my guitars over dinner. So I came home and, not knowing the first thing about how to sell anything online, Googled how do I sell guitars.
How many bloody guitars have you got?
I'm almost afraid to say online.
Too many.
Yeah, too many.
Yeah,
too many.
Okay.
And
a hoarder, a guitar hoarder.
Yeah, so I Googled how do I sell guitars online, and came across an ad.
Right. Oh wow! I didn't even know that. That's really interesting.
That's how I came on board.
So at that point, I'm assuming it was just, I'd like to maybe consider how I can get some things sold, but it was never a career change or a business or...
No, absolutely not.
God, to think that then led on to what's happened next, which we'll get into now. So you obviously found us, and I remember from our early conversations and from the team, and when you came on board and became a part of our DEA, that you were really having the intentions of replacing a big income.
Yeah.
I've got a high income, I'm working a lot of hours, I want more time for my family, more freedom, and this, that, and the other. When you actually got on board with us, I want to ask you, and I want in a real sort of honest answer, did you remotely believe you would be able to replace that type of income inside of a year, as an example, or was it something you were more like, if I could do this in 3, 4, 5 years, then it's going to give me more options? Or were you just all in? Were you like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to build an online business and transition as fast as possible? Or did it kind of happen by accident?
Again, something that happened pretty much by accident. Well, I came in and not even thinking about career change, as I said, but the more I understood about what it was, what it meant to build an online business, the more I realized that it was something I needed to do.
Yeah.
And the moment I realized I needed to do this, I gave myself 2 years. In the 2 years, the idea was, sorry.
No, yeah, you can carry on.
In the 2 years, the idea was that I would start building the business and build on that with a view to fully replacing my income within the 2 years.
Okay, that makes sense. And I think that's, one of the things that I always try and say to all of our members is when it really comes to creating a business, and especially a business that you're going to be really fulfilled by and passionate about, you want to give yourself realistic amounts of time. There's so much stuff online suggesting that it's step 1, 2, and 3, replace your income in 3 months. And you know, you're an amazing example of, you know, as you said, replacing a big income inside of a year, and doing it in record time, really. That you are in the small percent of people that achieve such huge results in such a short space of time. What I'm interested to know, because I know, having coached and mentored thousands of people, that doesn't happen by accident, Tim. I mean, you don't just sort of fall into an opportunity to learn business and having never done or sold anything online and get that kind of result. You must have been all in. Like this, there must have been a point, and I want you to think about this, where whether it was the week you got started or when you met us out in Bali for one of our retreats, where you were like, I'm all in, and the results must have come after that. Am I right, or how was that?
Yeah, I was all in fairly early on.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I think about a month in, I decided, you know, I'm going to build this in earnest. And it was 3-4 months later when I met the team in Bali that seeing everyone else's results, right? Seeing people having succeeded at this, that cemented the belief. And cementing that belief allowed me to
Almost burn your bridges in some respects.
yeah, exactly that. I think burning my bridges, deciding that, you know, there was no way back.
Yeah. Right. No, I always find that interesting, because online business, and I saw this a lot in real estate. You're a lawyer. Very few people say, I'm going to do my law degree and then have a mindset and then I'm going to try law. They say, I'm going to do my law degree and I'm going to become a lawyer.
Yeah.
In real estate, it's not like that very often. Often in real estate is, I'm going to do my real estate exams, you know, I'm going to get my license, and I'm going to try real estate. A lot of people, I'm going to try real estate. And that's why so few people succeed in real estate, because they're just going to try and they're not all in. And I see this so much in online business. Oh, you know, I'm going to try an online business. And when anyone says that to me, whether it's one of our students or anyone else, and they say, well, I'm going to give this a go, I feel like saying, and often I will, well, don't bother. You know, don't bother giving it a go. Either you really want this, you either want to solve these problems of missing family moments and finding more fulfillment and getting more freedom and giving yourself the choice to earn an income in a digital economy in a new way, and in a way that is likely to kind of serve you for a very long time, or you're not. And so I love that. I love it when I get the chance to witness and see people like yourself and the many members that we have had the same, that just go all in. Next thing I want to ask you is, at what point did you decide to really burn the bridges? In other words, do you know what? No longer am I putting the label of I'm a lawyer and staying and earning my safe, secure paycheck. I'm moving, I'm leaving this career that I've worked incredibly hard for, that maybe your family respect and feel very proud of you to be in, to now I'm an online entrepreneur, and I'm going to continue to grow my skills and build my business and grow my income. And when was that?
That was after Bali.
Yeah.
Right after Bali. Seeing everyone there living lives that they'd created for themselves, seeing the level of professionalism that being an online marketer, an online entrepreneur, it's not a game. It's real. People take it seriously. People treat it seriously. People treat it with a level of professionalism, a level of ethics and integrity that coming from a legal profession, it's things that were important to me,
to you.
And things that I didn't necessarily expect to find in an online business, because the association can be a little bit, you know, of a cowboy town. Sort of
Absolutely, wild west.
You know, and when I saw all of that, that was when the decision became easy for me. I would be able to do this in place of being a lawyer. I would be able to replace my income, because I'd seen people there replacing their incomes, and some of them high incomes. And there was nothing shady about it. You know, it's completely respectable. I could hold my head up high and say, yes, I'm an online marketer.
Absolutely. I mean, like a lot of these new things, in whether it be the Uber and replacing and disrupting taxis, or electronic cars and it's autonomous cars like with Tesla, disrupting transportation, or Airbnb disrupting the hotel industry. There's no doubt about it, these companies attract a lot of attention, but also a lot of sort of negativity and a lot of what harm's being done, how is this going to affect other people and their careers. And the way I look at it is that the world is changing whether we want it to or not. A lot of things that are happening, AI and jobs that are being replaced, is a result of consumer demand. And what I mean by that is a lot of people think, Amazon and them delivering from home, and drones and dropping products in your garden, and 1 hour to 2 hour deliveries is putting all of these small businesses out of business. But in reality, the way I look at it is that the world is changing, but it's the consumer that drives these things, because we want more efficiency. Yep, we don't want to sit in traffic for hours to get to the store and then have to go and sit in line for a checkout, when somebody can show up and deliver exactly what we've ordered online, or soon a drone can drop something in our garden. I think when you have awareness around that, is we're living in a world today where things are changing so fast. Industries are being disrupted. I mean, one of the biggest industries in the world, transportation, and specifically drivers, is at threat. In 5 years' time, there may not even be taxi drivers, one of the biggest job providers in the world, drivers, whether it be lorry or delivery or taxis, because these automated vehicles will be on our streets. And one of the things I want to be a stand for, and one of the things I like to put out in there is rather than fear it and ignore it or procrastinate from it, just learn the world is changing and start to learn how to be of more value in today's digital world. There are plenty of jobs, there is plenty of opportunity. We as a company have over 70 employees. They work for us, but they understand how to be of value in today's online world, in today's e-commerce world. And so that's what we're a stand for as a community, is helping that. And that's what I've seen with you, is you've transitioned from a traditional education in a fairly traditional role, as a corporate lawyer in the corporate world, to somebody who's re-skilled to learn how to be of more value in the digital economy. And actually what you've started out with is the affiliate business model, one of our favorite business paths that we teach, which has enabled you to fully replace a multiple six-figure income. You've done it in a really amazing space of time. So what I want to ask you is, have you found that journey fulfilling? Have you found the re-skilling from traditional skill to new ways of doing and delivering and being of value in the digital economy rewarding? Has that been a fulfilling journey for you?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head when you talked about learning to add value, because that's the part that's the most fulfilling. And the affiliate business is a perfect place to learn how to add value. Yeah. Because without adding value, you're just one of the many other people selling that same product. Yeah. Right. So by learning to add value there, by cutting your teeth on the affiliate, in the affiliate space, you learn to add value that stands out from the crowd. Yeah. And by learning to add value that stands out from the crowd, you've learned to then move on and add value in any other thing that you may be passionate about. Yeah. And I think that's the greatest part of the education.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's really what I want to do to sort of finally tie up this video, is move in from there. So, you've learned through the programs how to gain skills to, in this instance, sell online, whether it had been your guitar or an affiliate offer. You've then used those skills to grow an affiliate business where you're selling multiple different products, many of them which are paying you multiple thousands, including helping us with our business. You're now of value as an ambassador of ours, introducing customers after your experience with us, referring people to us. But I'm most excited about why we even met today in the first place, which was to really talk to you about your vision for really, I guess in a way, bringing together your career of being a lawyer and the 20 years of experience you have in law and being of value in the world with those skills, with your now online digital skills, and you've come up with a plan to actually become really more of an entrepreneur. I often say that affiliate marketing and these types of business models as, in my opinion, more of an intrapreneur phase. It's where you're more of a supporter within other businesses and other ecosystems, and then able to earn money as a way of being an intrapreneur. Whereas an entrepreneur is someone who, is really creating something from scratch to solve a problem. That's my definition of a real, true entrepreneur. So I would love to just know a sneak peek, I know it's very early, about what you've identified as an opportunity, and now what you're going to be working on with us as a partner in our DEA program to bring these two things together.
Well, it's a huge vision, and the vision is really to make the online space safer. The internet's here to stay. I think that's fair to say, and it's also a space. The internet has become a space where people can get away with a lot of things because of anonymity.
Yeah.
Right. And I want to make the internet a safer place for the future, for our children, for our children's children, and the internet is such an empowering tool because it allows trade to happen all around the world quicker than we ever imagined. And the idea of making that trade safe, right? Making it safe for these transactions to happen, to build trust with the end consumer.
Yeah.
Building trust with the end consumer is so key, because in many ways that trust has been lost by people who hide behind the internet.
Absolutely,
right?
hide behind their screens, and just to elaborate as well on what you're saying is, one of the biggest challenges we often see our own students facing when they're starting out is who to trust, because there's so much misinformation.
Yeah.
I've read that this is a business model that doesn't work, it's a scam, it's not real. I've heard this business model is the best thing, and then the next article or next blog I'm reading that it won't even be here in a month's time. And you read people saying that they've had the best experience in the world or the worst experience, and there's this kind of like wild west approach to the online world. And what I love about your intentions, and I know you don't want to go into too much detail of what you're building at this stage because it's kind of a secret. Good entrepreneurship, as far as I'm concerned, is about solving problems, and I think that your vision of solving this particular problem of providing more trust and more validation behind what people are saying and what people are writing, and understanding that the companies or the merchants they're buying from actually have a reputation that can be trusted and has been proven. I don't know if there's anything else you want to elaborate on it, or
yeah, it's a model that will make trust tangible for the end consumer, which definitely then translates into increased sales for any legitimate business.
Yeah.
It's not going to help businesses that are not legitimate,
No,
but
sure.
for any business that's legitimate,
Yeah.
this would be something that's welcome.
Yeah.
Because increased transparency is always good for anyone who's operating above board.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited about this, but not just because of the safety that's going to provide, but the value that it's going to bring to people who are trying to operate legally,
Yes.
people who are trying to operate ethically,
Yeah.
and just anyone who's been operating above board but has suffered
Yeah.
because their reputation's been tainted and all that. It's just to bring that sense of right
Yeah.
and justice
Yeah.
and fairness and fair play back to the internet.
Yeah, well, having really had a chance to understand your vision, I'm 100% behind it. I think you're solving a big problem, and for me, being able to, for you to be able to create something that enables people to make a safer, more informed decision, especially when spending, more money, is absolutely critical, and I look forward to seeing that evolve. But Tim, thanks so much for giving us some time. I would like you to sort of wrap up with one final thing. There's going to be people watching this video who are really relating to you. They're in a career, a job, maybe they've worked extremely hard to get to where they are, maybe even like yourself, professional qualifications, but they're ready for that change. What advice would you give someone who's procrastinating on taking action from a point of view of that they know they want more, they know that they're ready for the next phase or next fulfillment, but they're not really doing anything about it? What advice would you give those people?
Well, nothing you want is going to just land on your lap. You're going to need to take the steps, take the action to get what you want. If you keep doing the same thing, you're going to be in the same situation tomorrow. You're going to be in this situation next year. And I know it's scary. It was scary for me too. But the point is, don't look at me as someone who's inspiring. Look at me as evidence of what is possible for yourself, what's possible for your families. And if this is what you really want, then take the action and do it, because I did it, and if it's possible for me, it's possible for you.
I love that, Tim, and you have brought on one other thing, well, two things really.
Okay.
The first thing is you just reminded me of the famous quote that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So I think that is great
Absolutely.
advice.
Yeah.
You cannot just keep thinking. You do have to actually do something different. But let's finish up on this. Your intention was to not miss out on family moments, to gain more fulfillment. What has it done for you personally? You're now a year and a half almost in.
Yeah.
Job free, career free, working for yourself, replaced your income. How is life now?
Life's amazing, and the best thing about it is I get to cook every night. Love it. So I cook for my family every night. It used to be if I happen to have time, I'll cook once this weekend.
Yeah.
And it's become a nightly affair.
I love it.
And it's just brought everyone that much closer.
Yeah, and the time and the moments and not missing the family moments, you can't put any amount of money on. There's no price. It doesn't matter how successful you are financially, materially, you can't get that time back. You can't buy time back. If there is one thing we know that you can't buy, no matter how successful you are, is time and health. So congratulations, Tim, on all your results, and I'm so happy to be able to share this video with anybody, actually, not just our members, but anyone that may want to check it out. And I'm really looking forward to working closely with you and the future of making your vision of the internet a safer, more trusted place. I think that's a great problem that you'll be solving.
Well, thanks very much for having me, Stuart, and thanks very much for hand-holding me this whole time until I got to this point. It's very much appreciated.
Absolute pleasure. You're an inspiration to many, including myself, and I have to thank you for that.
Well, thank you, Stuart.
Thank you.